The second step is about what am I here for? So many people live in the regret when they get older to have lived a life in terms of somebody else's life. What it means is to live out the full potential, the unlimited potential, is to really identify what am I here for and how can I contribute my passion, my strengths, and my values to this world that not just fulfills myself, but also other people.
Staying motivated takes work. If you don't work on your motivation, you become unmotivated. Join Umar Jang as he shares inspirational stories and tips to get you motivated to do whatever you need to do. This is the Motivational Voice Podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Motivational Voice Podcast. This is session number 33. Let me pick your brain here for a moment. Tell me, what are you good at? What's your passion? When you were a child, what did you love to do? Have you noticed that as we get older, we move away from the things that we are passionate about? Maybe it's because we hear people say, grow up, be an adult, get a real job, and so on and so forth. Sadly, when you hear that, you move away from not only the things that you are passionate about, perhaps because you think that's what it means to be an adult, but you settle, you pull back, you no longer dream big, or you set aside those goals and aspirations that used to light a spark in your eyes and make you excited about the future. I have a firm belief that our passions make us excited about life, about work, about people, and everything that we do. You should be able to do the things you love and make a living in the process, right? But the world isn't perfect, is it? So what can you do now, today, to live a life of purpose? What can you do so you don't just feel like you are doing the adult thing? How can you unlimit yourself? That, my friend, is what today's podcast is all about. My guest today comes to us all the way from Switzerland. This man is extremely courageous and embodies what it means to be strong and resilient. It's a lot easier to be optimistic in life when you have no major struggles. On the other hand, it is a lot more difficult to stay positive and motivated when you've been battling to survive nearly your whole life. My guest Nathanael was born with a chronic illness that required him to live in and out of hospitals. He had 3 kidney transplants and thousands of medical procedures. But despite his life-threatening medical condition, Nathanael focuses on the positive in life and what he can do to not only motivate himself but teach others to get out of their own head to live their full potential. My conversation with him is very enlightening, and it's with great pleasure that I bring it to you. Let's listen. Right, Nathanael, welcome to the podcast.
Hey everybody, I'm so glad to be here today, and thank you so much for having this opportunity.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Nathanael, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Nathanael. I live in Zurich in Switzerland right now. I've been born with an incredible chronic illness past when I was 1 year old, and now working as a global inspirational speaker and victorious mindset mentor around the globe. And I love what I do. I love to inspire people to confront the average attitude, and that's why I'm here today. So, yeah.
You've had a really interesting journey, a challenging journey. You've had a medical prognosis that was really, life-threatening, to be honest. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, sure. It actually started with, I said, with 1 year old, and then it continued. So with 1 year old, I lost my own kidneys, which meant that I have to go to treatment called dialysis in order to survive. But probably one of the heaviest time come when I was 3 years old. to a complication, health complication. I was 2 weeks in a coma. After those 2 weeks, the doctors told my parents that we have done everything that we could do. If you want to see him still alive before he passed away, please come into the ICU. So my parents come. The doctors turned off all the life support machines, and all of a sudden I started to talk again. And it was just a miracle, because nobody could understand what really was going on, and my brain should have been dead, my body should have been dead, but then all of a sudden I started to talk again. And so that was one of the biggest experience that as well my family went through. I had other complications between 5 to 13 years old when I had 3 different kidney transplant. Unfortunately, they only worked between a time frame of 24 hours and 2.5 years. The second one with 2.5 years was really amazing, because with 7 years old when I had the kidney transplant, I learned the first time what it meant to be free, to be outside of the hospital most of the time, to feed myself, to learn about skills and hobbies, and to meet friends and all that. Because before the first 7 years of my life, that actually never happened.
What was it like you said that those transplants only last up to 2.5 years. Let's take a step back. Why was this happening to you? Was this something that you were born with, or was this some kind of disease that you contracted later in life?
Yeah, so the chronic illness that I have is actually a genetical sickness. I was born with it, but it took a while until it was activated. Today we know that also my parents, or especially we know that my mother had it and my second brother. But the reality is, in many other sicknesses and viruses, there's always a case where it activates, and there's a case that doesn't activate. So my mom and my brother, they live healthy life. They have no issue with the kidneys, and so that's what I have. Back to my second kidney transplant that I had, was like, what I wanted to say was like, I was falling into deep depression when I lost that kidney again. For me, the kidney was always the best friend. It was I all of a sudden had to let go of something that I was always dreaming of. I felt in the deep depression for 2 weeks. I didn't eat. I didn't talk anything. I almost didn't move. And all I wanted to do was just to end my life.
All right. So now I know that from your experiences, you learned to face different types of challenges. What have you learned from all of your experiences?
Firstly, what I learned a lot is really focusing on what still can be, and not on what I can't do or don't have, or whatever. So we're mostly focusing. The first thing we do is focusing on what we don't have anymore, or what we cannot do anymore. And I really learned to accept the situation, but focusing on what is still there. And that really has helped me to overcome and motivate myself, inspire myself.
What does it mean one of the things that I've seen you mention was to teach people how to unlimit themselves. What does it mean to unlimit yourself?
Great question. For me, it's really mostly to focusing on our on the things that still can be, and not focusing on feelings or circumstances, because I believe that each and everyone in this world has unlimited potential that is already there, that is within us, but it doesn't mean that we live it out already. Like, let's say we know that a child can ride a bicycle, and we know that as a parent, but the child might not be able to ride it yet. So we help them to really unlimit, to get that passion or even that skill out of their life. And what I love about it that it never stops. We have seen people in the past, in the history, that have done amazing things beyond somebody could dream. They never stop. There is endless potential in us. Yet we have to take responsibility to turn it into action.
And does that relate to the 4 steps to unlimit yourself?
Exactly. So I call it the 4 steps to unlimit yourself, because the reality is it starts with the first step, which I help people to identify who they are. Because in this world with so many different things going on, and we live in a constant tension, what we should do, who we should be, whatever. I realized myself that so many times, if we want to make a decision or anything else, we have to go back to reflect on who we are. Does that align with who I am? Does that align with who am I as a person right now, or want to be in the future? The second step is about what am I here for? So many people live in the regret when they get older to have lived a life in terms of somebody else's life. What it means is to live out the full potential, the unlimited potential, is to really identify what am I here for, and how can I contribute my passion, my strengths, and my values to this world that not just fulfills myself, but also other people. The third step is about creating a vision or a dream that helps people, creating a dream or vision from the identification of who am I and what I'm here for, which takes it to the next level, because once I know who am I and what I'm here for, of course it's a lifelong journey, but the more we go deeper into ourselves and the more deeper we know ourselves, the more we realize, okay, there's so much out there that I can contribute. And the fourth step is all about not just dreaming or visionizing, but also taking the steps to practically outliving what could fulfill myself as well, the world out there, or the other people around me that needs that. And that's what I love. And the 4 steps, when you have a foundation of in life, to know who am I and what I'm here and what you are here for, you can reach the unlimited potential by stepping out and daily or weekly, monthly, really focusing on the vision and the dream you want to achieve. And it's such an amazing thing, because it starts actually with a mindset, to focus the mind, to have a proper mindset toward what we want to be, do, or have in the future. and there are actually endless opportunities and endless achievement possible.
So for the first step, when you say so identifying who you are, is it a matter of understanding who you are as a person in terms of tell me a little more about that. How do you go about doing that, understanding who you are?
Yeah, sure. It's definitely about mentally as well, physically and psychologically, because what I help people is to identify their strengths, passion, and values. And because, let me say, for example, just an example, for years, I realized that, or I found out that I have a gift or a talent or a skill of being generous. So what I do with that, if I don't know what I can do with it, or if I don't know what other talents that I have that might be in constellation with that specific talent. So what I recommend people is to really go deeper and see the whole spectrum of the gifts, talents, passion and values, and realizing, okay, I can use that talent and connect it with this talent, or I can use my talent with somebody else's talent who can help me where I might be in one side, I might be weak, where another person is strong, and together we can grow, we can complement each other and do something amazing.
Okay, so is it seeking out some other people for doing partnerships and finding a way to use your strengths and what you're good at together to make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you will never go alone to the top. So there will always be people needed around you that can complement to your talent, to your passion and value that you need in order to fully flourish. And other people might need it as well from your side. So, for example, in my case, I'm a highly visionary person, but I have absolutely no clue about details. To put it in a harsh way, I hate details. I don't know how to do with detail. And so I need to know who can help me, who loves to be in the details, who loves to do strategic thinking, who is absolutely expert. It doesn't necessarily be an expert at first sight, but somebody who loves to do details. And so if that person joins me, I can help him or her to realize the big picture where we want to go, while that person can help me to realize what is needed to go there to accomplish the vision.
Right. So it sounds like part of it is to understand your personality type and also seek out basically your opposite, other personalities that complement you to be able to be more impactful.
Exactly, yeah. And that be what I experienced in my life, the more you know about yourself, the deeper you go, the more you can be specific in looking for the right passion, strength, or value that you need.
For the second step to unlimiting yourself, you mentioned asking yourself the question, what am I here for? So your purpose in life, what are some of the things that people can do to really figure out what that is? Because sometimes people don't have an idea or don't have a clue as to what their purpose is, and they don't necessarily know what to do to find their purpose. How would they go about doing that?
Great question. I think it goes back to who am I? I mean, like when we let's say, identify our strengths in terms of, let's say, somebody has the strength to communicate, which of course is quite an easy example. So the person can experimenting with communication, which of course is, it can be a speaker, it can be somebody who goes on the street and talks to the people to make them happy, or it can be a coach, a speaking coach. There's so many options in each strength, and I think what I would encourage you is to just try things out. Um, in the beginning, you don't have to be an expert. I always get reminded about that if we do something every day for 1 hour, we will be an expert in 5 years. And I love that the more we unfold what is in us, the clearer it gets, the purpose and what we are here for. And it's a matter of time. It doesn't. I never met somebody who had found out the purpose within one day. It's a constant journey. But the more you do it, the more you get into what you love to do, where your strengths are, where you're passionate, the more you can unfold and get clearer in the purpose.
Yeah, I think it goes along the lines of practice makes perfect, right? So for some, it may just be, if I'm hearing you right, it may just be maybe paying attention to some of those things that people tell you that you are good at and you're great at, and pursuing those to figure out what you're really good at and what your purpose may be. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Great. And then for the third step, what does it mean when you say creating a dream?
Okay. So what I help people usually is to take 3 different strengths, 3 different values, and 3 different passions that they have, and you can find it out with different personality styles. I got on my ebook that I will talk about it later on, a great systematic process how you can identify them. So basically, what I do is helping people to imagine you have a circle, and you have an outer circle, a middle circle, and an inner circle. What you do is you start to think about with those 9 different words to simplify it. Let's take the word for those 9 different things. So what you do, you take what you feel like, or do you think like the most farthest away, the most farthest passion, strength, and value, you put in the outer circle. And then you put the next 3 ones into the middle circle. And then in the very inside, you got the 3 or each one passion, strength, and value that is closest to your heart, or that do you think is best for you. So you take them, and then with those words, you basically create a dream. Let's say somebody had the value of being generous to someone. You have the passion to travel, and you have the strength to communicate with people. So you create a dream that, for example, is, hey, I want to travel the world and help people communicate. Or it can even be the more intended to help people communicate in a financial environment. Something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's all about taking it down, really taking it down until you have only 3 words left, and you create a dream from that.
Yeah, so it's you're building from what you're strong at, and using that as the foundation for what it could lead you to be doing, and that's your purpose. Yeah, so I think that makes sense, because if you think of every conceivable job or every conceivable, even a hobby, there is generally something foundational about it that attracts you to it. So maybe you like to balance things, to feel balance, or to run on walls, or whatever it may be, and that may lead you to be a surf instructor or something like that. So using those core ideas, and of course to get to those ideas is sometimes you just have to write the word and then build from there.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to say that whenever you have put in the third or second circle, it's not something you never use. It's just to have a start, to have a foundation, and then you still can add those strengths, passion, and value that you have chosen or that you actually are. And the more you will be on the journey, the more you realize how you can connect each one of them together.
You have a book that you've written, and what is that book about?
It's actually a free ebook, which I call 4 Steps to Unlimit Your Life.
Okay.
You can download it on unlimited.co or my personal website, nathanaelzurbruegg.com. Get it for free, and you will see the whole steps that I just explained a little bit earlier.
Okay.
And that's the
okay.
book.
All right. So it's an ebook that kind of walks you through the 4 steps you talked about and how to gives you more information on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to add as we start to wrap up?
I want to share with you my favorite quote, which is, "There are no limitations to the mind except the one we acknowledge it." And it has been so true, not just in my life, but also in other people's life, that I had the blessing to be along the journey. And I love that the mindset can be developed constantly to have a victorious mindset, to push through, to go for the dream and vision that you will create or have already, and live the unlimited potential for the rest of your life, and be completely, not working any other day in your life, but enjoying life and living life to the fullest.
That's well said. I think it goes to show, I mean, the experience that you've had, things that you've gone through, and you are still looking at life with a positive mindset. I think that speaks volumes. How are you today? How are you feeling overall?
I'm really good. Well, I always say I'm really good, but I'm good. I'm just on the waiting list for my 4th kidney transplant. What that meant that I have to stay in Switzerland. I'm not allowed to travel at the moment because I can get a call any time possible. And this is, as a global inspirational speaker, that's probably the hardest, not the hardest thing in my life, but one of the hardest things that I've been through. So it takes me a lot of patience as an impatient guy. And it takes me out all of it. And a little bit stressed about everything inside me, not necessarily outside, but inside me. But I'm keeping going. I'm taking one day after another, and I'm totally excited when better days are coming, and I can fully live life again as I already dreamed, or as I had already with 5 years old for 24 hours, with 7 years old for 2.5 years, and with 11 years old for 13 months. So that's what I'm looking for.
I wish you the best. I hope that you get that transplant and that things work out. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Any final words?
No, I just want to express my gratitude to be here on the podcast, and I want to give credit to you, Omar, to having me here, because each day, each step of my success is not by myself, but by somebody else as well. So thank you so much for having me here. And if you want to know more about developing a victorious mindset and having a fulfilled life, please go on my website to download the free ebook, 4 Steps to Unlimit Your Life.
Absolutely, and I'll make sure I link that in the show notes of this episode, so people can go check out your website and certainly download the ebook as well. And I thank you for coming on the podcast as well. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me and share your journey and your experience and struggles with the audience. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That was my interview with Nathanael Zurbruegg. I hope you found it useful. One thing I learned in life is to be appreciative of the things that we take for granted and don't even think about. Whenever I have a conversation with someone like Nathanael, it really puts things in perspective and it reinvigorates me. The lesson I want you to walk away with today is this. You have full control of your life. And yes, I understand that some things may not come as easily, and you may need to get creative to make things happen in your life. But ask yourself, do I have thoughts or behaviors that prevent me from living out my full potential? Are you sabotaging yourself without even knowing it? When something great happens in your life, do you suddenly find a way to sabotage it? If you are doing all the right things, but somehow something always gets in the way, maybe you ought to be brutally honest with yourself, face the truth, and change something. Because only then will you start to do things differently, and only then will you live to your full potential. 2020 is ending. It was a rough year by any measure, but now it's time to look ahead. You have a chance to start this coming year on the right footing. I want to challenge you to reconnect with your passions and the things that make you feel happy and the things that make you feel like you matter, and then find a way to include those things once again in your life. Life is a matter of balance, and I believe that you can be an adult, a parent, a responsible human being, and do the things you love to do at the same time. You can find the show notes for this episode on my website at umarjang.com/session 33. That's session 33, all one word. Thank you for listening and spending part of your day with me today. I wish you a happy and wonderful new year. Bonne et heureuse année. Feliz año nuevo. Sana jadida saida devinity. Let's live life to the fullest. Until next time, please stay safe and motivated. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Motivational Voice Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and rate it on iTunes. Get show notes and the latest blog posts at omarjang.com.